Dr. Wolf, you warned us about through the states. We're going to have Joe Kent on here in a moment about the state of Washington. What's going on now? Because this is clearly not a pandemic of the unvaccinated, right? That's obvious. So what's happening
Yeah,
at the state level? You warned us about New York. What's happening at the state level now that they're trying to roll in and basically crush the vaccine hesitant and the vaccine resistant?
yeah. It's painful for me sometimes to, come on your show because I try not to watch MSNBC, and it's such a barrage of like, it's like a lie-o-meter, lie after lie after lie, every 2 seconds. And that was really stunning to witness. I mean, the data are in categorically, CDC is acknowledging it. Senior health officials are acknowledging it. The unvaccinated are less filling hospitals than are the vaccinated. This is studies out of Israel, out of Europe, and this notion, which is so existentially wrong, that you have to get vaccinated to protect other people. That is completely false, as we've said a million times. So now they're reverting. It's so interesting to watch them kind of revert to new talking points. So it's like, okay, maybe you're not more infectious if you're unvaccinated, but these health care workers are begging you to get vaccinated again, nonsensically. I mean, we're a rich, free country. If we need more hospitals, we should build more hospitals. If, there's going to be suppression of liberties every time someone goes to the hospital, then we should force people to exercise, or force people to take their insulin, or force people to not smoke, and on and on and on. And we don't do that because we have human rights and autonomy, and we are adults and we can make our own choices. So that's painful. So now let me go to why they're hammering and hammering. One huge reason is that a vast trove, and I'll talk about Washington State in a minute, it's related, a vast trove of documents that are stunning came out of Project Veritas. And I'm here as a kind of refugee of the left to say that Project Veritas was represented to me as, like you, right? The spear point of evil. And they're doing such important work, such important reporting. And this trove, I just read it this morning. There's a stunning cover letter by a whistleblower to the Department of Defense saying, I've looked at all of this, gain of function material. There is no question that Dr. Fauci essentially lied about gain of function experiments, according to this insider at the Department of Defense. But he goes, that's not all, right? That's not all. He says, not only did they, were they turned down by us in 2018 because the experiments that Daza proposed at EcoHealth Alliance with SARS-CoV-2 were too dangerous and they were illegal because they violated the laws against gain of function research, but they went directly to Wuhan to do them there, which has been conjectured, which The Intercept reported, but now an insider is validating. We said no. We said it was too risky. We said it was illegal here in the United States, the Department of Defense. So they just took it to Wuhan and subcontracted it out to a facility that co-houses the PLA and the Chinese Communist Party, our adversaries, right? With an experiment that is too dangerous for the military to sign off on it here. And then he went on to say, not only that, but the spike proteins in the vaccine are the same. Now you've got to listen to this, are the same spike proteins in the virus that were considered too dangerous to experiment on in the United States of America. Furthermore, not only did they subcontract this out to Wuhan, but as I reported, the day I was deplatformed from Twitter, Brian O'Shea broke the story, I reported it. Ralph Barrick in UNC in Maryland, we need to find out where they were experimenting in America. And lastly, they suppressed things like ivermectin. Bombshell.
Dr. Wolf, just hang on. Short commercial break. We're going to have Dr. Malone, Dr. Wolf, Joe Kent, all next in the War Room. Huge fights up there. And explosive documentation from the good folks of Project Veritas, James O'Keefe and the team. Explosive documentation, as Dr. Naomi Wolf just teed up for us, is coming out now. But the Pentagon whistleblowers, all of it. We're bringing in Dr. Robert Malone to team up with Dr. Wolf in this segment. Dr. Malone, walk us through last night when this happened. You were all over me. Walk through why is this so explosive and what are the details?
So I'm only through the first 6 of 24 pages of the reveal from Veritas in the email or the correspondence from Major U.S. Marine Corps Joseph Murphy that has been filed with his superiors. It looks like on August 13, 2021. So this has been sitting in DoD archives in the Inspector General's office after basically an internal DARPA fellow has done a reveal. Now, I got to say, I'm still on the fence. We need to be cautious that it's a false flag operation. And that possibility has to be acknowledged. Veritas has done a great job here. I've read the initial 6 pages. This looks valid. The language is correct. The logic makes sense. We now have a plausible explanation for what was going on in the Wuhan lab, that they were engineering a virus to inoculate bats and had not completed their development process for this, and the thing leaked out while it was still highly potent for humans. That if these documents are verified, then this is truly a smoking gun of historic proportions. This is a bombshell. Now I have, as you know, I have been corresponding with Senator Johnson's office since this has broken. And I have a formal statement, and it's important to remember that Senator Ron Johnson, number one, the press has painted him as wackadoodle. I even had that in my mind when I first visited him in the Senate. He is an upstanding, straight-on Midwest guy. He is just a person of integrity. And he is as angry and confused about what's happened in our government as the rest of us are. And furthermore, he has just announced, or I think over the weekend, that he is going to run again, even though he's sick and tired of all these attacks in the press and the mischaracterization and the yellow journalism, because if the Senate flips, he's going to be in charge of the investigation subcommittee. And we are going to get to the bottom of this. So this is the official statement he's allowing me to read. Quote, from Senator Ron Johnson, direct. I have been investigating all these issues related to the coronavirus and federal agencies' involvement in funding of gain of function and other dangerous research, as well as our response to COVID. I've sent dozens of oversight letters and my investigation is ongoing. That's the official statement. Rest assured that his office and his investigative team is on the issue of these documents and their veracity.
Does this, if these documents are backed up, as I don't know why they wouldn't be backed up, right? They're from a FOIA request. What is this show that Tony Fauci perjured himself? Where's Tony Fauci stand in this? Because Tony Fauci has denied it. Absolutely.
But that is the tip of the iceberg.
Exactly.
What we have here is the disclosure of a coordinated propaganda attack on the American populace and the world. That the implications of this are enormous.
Dr. Wolf, let me pull the camera back for a second. When Dr. Malone says that this is enormous and much broader than just Tony Fauci and funding of DASIC and slipping money in there, what is he, in your mind, what does he mean by that?
Well, when he said this is the tip of the iceberg, I was thinking the exact same thought. The fact that Dr. Fauci grossly perjured himself is hugely apparent, but it's the least of the crimes that, if indeed these are verified documents, are being revealed. As Dr. Malone said, and I can't overstate this. This is a premeditated kind of manslaughter of millions of people, coordinated at the highest levels, according to these documents, in which treatments that would have saved lives were intentionally or apparently intentionally suppressed. And I'm going to restate that you had a whistleblower warning in August of 21, as Dr. Malone said, before millions of people needlessly or were injured, that the spike protein in SARS-CoV-2 is the same as the spike protein in the vaccines that the Department of Defense said was too dangerous to engage with, even as an experiment. And I'm also going to say, because I think that this is going to turn out to be huge and people are not paying enough attention, North Carolina, possibly Maryland, they say there are places around the United States where these experiments were proceeding. We don't know where they are. We don't know that everyone who got sick in the United States got sick because of China. We don't know what may have leaked or what the conditions were in the United States. So they were endangering.
But by the way, people have to remember, it was the University of Maryland's experimentation, and when they published that the Obama administration, remember, it was the Obama administration that shut this down at the national security level. The National Security Council shut down the gain of function experimentations, right? Go ahead.
That's right. And so they promptly went around that. And I've seen the notes from the convention or the seminar in which representatives of NIH are basically brainstorming with Barrick and other scientists saying, how do we get around this prohibition? How do we outsource this? But let me go back to not a bigger picture, but as a journalist, I see a bigger picture. The fact that these documents were allowed to be leaked, right? They're so explosive. And the fact that the spokesperson for the DOD is sort of saying, gee, I don't know, that's unusual. To me, it says that there's a civil war going on basically at the highest levels. I go back to, there's a coup. A coup has happened and it's not completely successful. And God bless men and women at the senior levels of our military. Some patriots are allowing this to unfold, to reach the public. Some patriots are allowing it to happen because they are not on board with what is clearly a coup, harming the American people, deceiving the American people, and killing the American people in some cases.
Can I react to that?
Dr. Malone, jump in. Go ahead.
So, Naomi, I am completely with you, and this is a core message. There are good